Hello and welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria, the continent, and all around the world. This is Lunchtime Politics. But first, the headlines. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf approves appointment of 3 second-class Emirs for the newly established Emirates of Rano, Gaya, and Karaye. Federal High Court in Abuja dismisses Philip Shaibu's suit seeking Asue Ighodalo's sack as PDP candidate. Plus, on the program, Governor of Taraba State Abu Kefas appoints 1,270 executive escorts.
This is Channels Television's breaking news.
Many thanks indeed for joining us on the program. I am Kelly Egiga here in Lagos. Just before we get into all of those juicy stories making news, we'll begin with our breaking news. This hour, the Federal High Court in Abuja has reinstated Mr. Philip Shaibu as Deputy Governor of Edo State, following his earlier impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly. The court, presided over by Justice James Omotosho, held that the removal of the plaintiff, Mr. Shaibu, from office as Deputy Governor of Edo State and the subsequent appointment of Omobayo Godwins as his replacement by the Governor of Edo State was illegal, unconstitutional, null and void. The court held that there was a breach of the provisions of the procedure laid out in Section 188, subsection 1 to 9, in the way and manner the impeachment process was conducted. The court also notes that the ouster clause in Section 188, subsection 10, limiting the jurisdiction, is not a standalone provision. The court referred rather to the decision of the Nigerian Supreme Court in Nakoju v. Adeleke 2007. The court therefore ordered the first defendant, the Inspector General of Police, to immediately restore the security of the plaintiff as Deputy Governor of Edo State. At the time of filing this report, supporters of Philip Shaibu were seen within the court's premises celebrating the court verdict. We also understand that the court held the impeachment was politically motivated because of his aspirations to contest as for the office of the Governor of Edo State. All right, so there you go, a breaking story this hour. Philip Shaibu, he is back, reinstated by the Federal High Court in Abuja as Deputy Governor of Edo State. We have all of the details and more updates for you. We're tracking and we'll bring you up to speed as events unfold. But let's get things started here with other stories. Now, the Court of Appeal in Abuja as well has dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate Samuel Anyanwu, challenging the decision of the Imo State Tribunal, which affirmed the election of Hope Uzodinma as the authentic governor of Imo State. The court held that the appeal lacked merit, having resolved all issues formulated against the appellants in the suit. In the same vein, the court also dismissed the appeal by the Labour Party and its candidate, Mr. Choni Neji, and that of the Allied People's Movement for also lacking in merit. The appellants, who were dissatisfied with the tribunal judgment, had approached the Court of Appeal on grounds that the November 11, 2023 election was invalid by reason of non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The appellants also challenged Governor Uzodinma's qualification with an allegation that his WAEC certificate of education result was forged. By delivering judgment, the Court of Appeal held that the appellants in their appeal failed to prove the allegations of non-compliance as alleged. The three-man panel, led by Justice Bitrus Sanga, also held that the appellants failed to prove that the governor submitted a forged certificate. away from court matters. The Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission has scheduled local government elections for October 19 between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. The Commission's chairperson, Hajara Mohammed, announced the date during a meeting with political parties in Kaduna State. She knows that the current council members who were sworn in on November 1, 2021 will end their tenure on October 31. The Commission will organize the elections for chairpersons, vice chairpersons, and councillors. The Commission also released the election timetable and guidelines assuring all parties of their readiness to conduct the election on the set date. To other stories now. The Kukah Center is asking political party executives to deepen internal democracy and hold politicians elected on their platform to account. At a roundtable hosted by the Kukah Center, the matter of how internal democracy impacts good governance featured prominently, even as party representatives blame weak institutions for bad governance in the country.
The Kukah Center is hosting executives of political parties at this roundtable on political party development and good governance in Abuja. This is against the backdrop of the post-2023 general election research on the management of political parties in Nigeria. Moderated by Bishop Hassan Kukah, the conversations begin with the recent Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy and how this will enhance accountability.
I think the board is now squarely in the court of the local government chairman. Everybody would know that they have to hold the local government chairman and his councillors to account.
Yes, we have the political, the financial autonomy granted local government. But the people who are elected as chairman of local government, how do they get there? Who are the people?
Other participants outlined the reasons behind the weakness of political parties and how to address the situation.
The politicians, they embezzle public funds. But did you ask them how much they spent before they got that place? INEC, do you win election free? The political parties are weak if we examine the real meaning of a political party in a developed democracy.
Their job becomes even more difficult after the elections. They have no control over the elected president. They have none over the senator. They have none over the governor, even under their parties. They are looked upon as beggars from the party headquarters.
The organizer, Bishop Kukah, speaks on the role of citizens in building strong institutions.
For the police to become an institution, for the bureaucracy to become an institution, Nigerians must collectively and individually learn to say no, to things going contrary to the principles of that institution. So I think it's everybody's business, really. It's everybody's business.
The consensus at this conference is that all hands must be on deck to build strong institutions that will guarantee good governance in Nigeria.
To other stories now, the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has vowed to reject any job losses resulting from the federal government's proposed merger of ministries, as stated in the Orosanya report. The national president of the association, Mr. Tomi Okon, gave the warning during a media briefing in the nation's capital, Abuja. Mr. Okon warns that no decision can be made without the participation of the association.
We addressed a press conference calling on the government to make sure that labor is part of the committee, implementation committee, but as we speak, that is still not been effected. And we are also calling on government to ensure that in implementing Orasanya's report, they should repeal the act that established those agencies they want to scrap or merge. Otherwise, it will be subject to litigation. And again, in emphatic, there shall be no job loss. The reason is that the socioeconomic challenges does not welcome that now. You cannot shave our head in absence. And we have said that is why we should be part of the implementation committee for us to put and then ensure that the voice of the workers are heard.
You're watching Lunchtime Politics. Let's take you to Benin City, where a legal practitioner is standing by to speak with us as regards this very latest story here as regards the court judgments. Want to thank you indeed for agreeing to speak with us here on Channel CV.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon.
Yes. Help us make sense of this judgment and what exactly it means to your party.
Yeah, for me, the judgment further confirms what we have always believed, that Asue Ighodalo's candidature is standing on the rock of Gibraltar. It's before affirmed that he remains the candidate of the party in the two states, having gone through a well-supervised, a well-monitored, a well-conducted primaries that held in February. So the court's judgment didn't come to us as a surprise. Rather, it reaffirms our firm belief in democracy and further reassures the other people that Asue Ighodalo is the candidate to beat the elections come September 2024.
And what exactly are perhaps the implications?
Well, like I said, it has affirmed the candidature of the leading candidate of the PDP in Edo State. So the judgment has affirmed that Asue Ighodalo remains the candidate of the PDP in the forthcoming election in Edo State. So for us, it didn't come to us as a surprise because we always believed that the candidate of the PDP has not been affected, is unblemished, his record is sterling, and the people are motivated, they are ready to cast their vote for the candidate of the PDP. So that position will be further confirmed this afternoon.
Let me also ask you as to just how far-reaching is this judgment when there is the likelihood or possibility that it could be appealed in a higher court?
Yeah, for me, whether they appeal or not, it does not change the fact that Asue Ighodalo is the candidate of the PDP. So whoever is complaining right now, for me, they're just they're just crying over spilled milk because the four persons who came to challenge this the outcome of the primaries, the court have ruled that two of them lacked locus. They didn't participate in the primaries, and of course, the court even lacked jurisdiction to even attend the suit in the first instance. So for me, what is important to us is that the candidate of the PDP has been reaffirmed, and that is the fact. Every other issues, whether or not they are aggrieved, it's a moment to us. So we are very happy with the outcome of the ruling, and we are sure, and we are telling our people that they should remain resolute, they should remain focused on the campaign, because the only party that have shown seriousness, that have displayed a manifesto that is appealing to the other people is the PDP, and that is the position.
All right. I'll take you up a bit more about your candidates, but I want you to react to this breaking story that the Federal High Court in Abuja reinstating Philip Shaibu as Deputy Governor of Edo State. This absolutely does not sound like good news to you and your principal, does it?
For me, I'm yet to see a copy of the judgment that you're just referring to. But if anything, social media is anything to go by. I'm also aware that the Edo State Assembly have since filed a notice of appeal, and they've also filed the motion for stay of that judgment. So we'll just watch and see how the story develops.
I would also like you to respond or react to some critics. They refer to your candidate, Asue Ighodalo, as a Lagos boy. He spends most of his life here in Lagos. They think he does not have that grassroots touch with the people of Edo State. Am I correct?
That propaganda has long been dispelled. Those who cooked up that propaganda or that lie clearly did not understand what it means to be a homeboy. Asue Ighodalo has been, he's from Edo State. He has reestablished his leadership. The fact that he has been advising successive governments in Edo State is no news. For the past 16 years, Asue Ighodalo has been an advisor to all governors that have served in this state. So him picking up the ticket of the PDP didn't come to us as a surprise, because he has shown commitment, he has shown character, he has shown capacity to be the next governor of Edo State. That, for me, is the issue. Every other thing, for me, are just mere, beer parlor gossips.
All right, it's a fine place to anchor a conversation with you, legal practitioner and spokesperson for the PDP Governorship Campaign Council in Edo State. Thank you indeed, Dennis Osaretin, for speaking with us here on Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's turn our attention now to other stories and take you precisely to Kano State, where the leadership tussle for the Kano Emirate, or with the Kano Emirates, continues. We understand the state government, just before we get into that, has now filed fresh charges against the former governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, alongside his former commissioner for justice, Musa Abdullahi Lawan. The charges are coming shortly after a previous trial commenced in absentia against Mr. Ganduje. However, the court has not yet set a date for the commencement of the trial. This latest legal action follows a series of legal challenges faced by Mr. Ganduje and his associates. Recently, the court entered a not guilty plea for Mr. Ganduje, his wife, Hafsat Umar, and other defendants in absentia on an 8-count charge that includes allegations of bribery, misappropriation, and diversion of public funds amounting to billions of naira. Let's stay in Kano for a moment, as Governor Abba Yusuf has approved the appointments of the 3 second-class emirs for the newly established emirates of Rano, Gaya, and Karaye. This development follows the governor's recent enactment of a law creating these emirates. The announcement was made public through a statement issued by Mr. Sanusi Bature, the governor's spokesperson and chief press secretary. The statement highlights that the new emirates are designated as second class, with the Kano Emirate maintaining its status as a first-class emirate. The newly appointed emirs are Alhaji Muhammad Miraz Karaye as Emir of Karaye. Prior to his appointment, he served as the district head of Rogo. Alhaji Muhammad Isa Umar as Emir of Rano, who was previously the district head of Bunkure. Alhaji Aliyu Ibrahim Abdul Qadir Gaya as Emir of Gaya. He held the position of Emir in the now defunct Gaya Emirates. 2 of the emirs, we understand, have received their appointment or letters of appointment as at 2 a.m. today. Well, earlier, the Kano State Governor, Abba Yusuf, signed into law the Kano Emirates Council Establishments Bill 2024. The bill provides for the creation of 3 second-class emirs in Rano, Karaye, and Gaya. Correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu tells us more.
The Kano State House of Assembly passed a bill creating second-class emirs in the state. The bill, which passed first, second, and third readings within an hour, provides that Rano, Karaye, and Gaya will now be considered as emirates under second-class emirs, who shall be appointed by the Kano governor. Shortly after passing the bill, the Speaker, along with other principal officers of the House, arrived at the Government House to present the bill to the State Governor.
I want to assure you that it will improve the economy of those emirates. Not only improving the economy, it will bring people closer to the government. And any serious government used to move closer to their people in order to know their problems, at least to know how to tackle it.
The governor now makes it a law by signing the Kano Emirate Council Establishment Bill 2024.
As we move forward, I urge all the newly established emirates to work in harmony within the confines of the Kano Emirate to promote unity, peace, and development across our state. Meanwhile, this administration will in due course announce the respective second-class emirs who will take charge of the newly established 3 second-class emirates.
The State Attorney General explains the exclusion of Bichi Emirate from the list.
You can safely refer to Bichi as a breeding ground for prospective Kano emirs. This is an established history. And the essence of the exercise being piloted by His Excellency the Governor is to preserve and protect the history and good values, traditional values of Kano.
The signing of the Kano Emirate Council Establishment Bill 2024 marks a significant change in the administrative structure of the Kano State Traditional Institution. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Right from Kano, the governor of Taraba State, has appointed 1,270 executive aides. A total of 1,075 were appointed within 24 hours between Monday, July 15 and Tuesday, July 16, 2024. In a press statement issued by the Secretary to the government of the states, Kebon Katabs, the appointees are to serve as either special advisors, senior special assistants, constituency special assistants, or members of boards, commissions, and agencies of the Taraba State government. As on Monday, the state government released a total of 573 names and subsequently released 502 on Tuesday night. The number adds to the previous 195 earlier approved by the state government. The last batch of the appointees are awaited, as the state government says the appointment is in 4 phases. Agukefa says that the Supreme Court's decision for local government autonomy aligns with his administration's commitments to decentralization and local empowerment. At the inauguration of the Taraba State Local Government Areas Autonomy Advisory Committee, the governor emphasized that local government autonomy would uphold the principles of democracy and justice. Let's take you back now to other stories now, where the court's Justice Hamza Muazu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja has rejected an application by former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, for permission to travel to the United Kingdom for follow-up medical checkup. Justice Muazu, in a ruling held, among others, that Mr. Emefiele failed to supply sufficient materials to show that the medical trip was essential and unavoidable. Justice Muazu found that Mr. Emefiele claimed there was an invitation for him to travel to the UK for medical attention. He failed to tender a copy of the said invitation in court. The judge also found that Mr. Emefiele did not show that his ailment could not be attended to in the country. Justice Muazu also held that Mr. Emefiele is facing charges in 3 other courts in Nigeria. In the Niger Delta region, Rivers State precisely, the All Progressives Congress caretaker chairman Tony Okocha has condemned the continuous steering office of the caretaker committee chairman appointed by Governor Siminalayi Fubara in spite of a Supreme Court judgment outlawing the committee. Mr. Okocha, who was having a parley with pressmen in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, bemoaned the governor's failure to adhere to the rule of law, even as he called on the National Assembly to amend the nation's laws to let INEC conduct local government elections, revealing that while serving as chief of staff, he oversaw the writing of results for council elections and doesn't want a repeat of the same in the present day.
The issue of election into office should no longer be the responsibility of state independent electoral commissions, because the system is already skewed. The governors will use it as another means of getting back what they feel they have lost. Because they formed the RISEC, the SEC, I'm sorry, when I say RISEC, I'm talking about Rivers State. They formed the State Independent Electoral Commission and give them handouts. I was chief of staff, I gave handouts. Elections could be written inside chief of staff's office. It was done so in my time. We did so. We'll write the results and hand over to the commission. They will just, their business is going to go and announce. And of course, after announcing the results, if you feel aggrieved, you will present before the tribunal. The tribunal is as set up by the state government. They also have their own handouts. Now, the appeal to whatever decision the tribunal takes is at the state high court. They will also have their handout to do. So what will you do else? You will accept your fate. And it is the reason why in all states where they have conducted election, all the positions were won by the governor's own party. Does that suggest democracy? It doesn't. So we're also using this opportunity to plead with the National Assembly to immediately, either by resolution or howsoever, remove the issue of election of local government leadership from the hands of the State Independent Electoral Commission.
Away from Rivers State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is meeting with 134 accredited observer groups ahead of the upcoming governorship elections in Edo State and Ondo in November 2024. The groups include 124 domestic and 10 international observers. National Commissioner Sam Olumeku is urging observers to adhere to the Code of Conduct, warning against actions that could compromise the electoral process. He also advises them to obtain access codes from the Commission to complete online registrations and upload necessary documents on the INEC website. And just before we go, let's take you back to our breaking story this hour, where the Federal High Court in Abuja has reinstated Mr. Philip Shaibu as Deputy Governor of Edo State following his earlier impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly. And that's your lunchtime politics this hour. Thanks indeed for watching. I am Kelly Egiga. Bye now.